Hey guys, it's Will. Hopefully you're having a great Saturday night. Rocket Lab is quietly setting up for something big, and most people will miss it. And I was just in a conversation with one of my friends that works at Rocket Lab. It's been really interesting to see some of their progress. And our virtual stock trading system is positioning investors for early moves like this. And we have this access and sale for Memorial Weekend. If you want to watch the replay from our investor coffee conversation this morning. The second link down below is for our daily live trading. If you ever want to tune on Tuesday, as the markets are closed on Monday for Memorial Weekend, they will be open on Monday or Tuesday, and we will be there. So as you can see, Rocket Lab looks like last time we had our analysis set out here was just this consistent trend. One of our last videos here seems to be back here on maybe May 9th or 10th. And we were saying that Rocket Lab could make this move from this $20 price point, this consistent uptrend here we've been seeing, with the exception of this sell down here back in April when the whole market dipped. This move here is what we're kind of anticipating, about a 22% move. Now, we can actually kind of extend this out. We see it broke out a little bit there and actually not only made that move, but it seems it's made a lot bigger move than that, about 30% up since really in the past week and a half, 2 weeks. And you can see that this move now, it's looking maybe a little bit more on the hyper bullish stage. While it looks overbought, when you kind of zoom out, it's near that resistance. At the same time, there's this previous resistance. This is a support here. So that previous support level right there at about $23, acting as a support again. It kind of dropped down, possibly showing some signs of validating that previous support. And what we might see is this breakout. Now, could it sell back down here into this range? It's possible, but it is starting to maybe indicate some of the moves we'd like to see that would show signs of breaking back to previous levels. So previous levels would put it back up here in that $30 to $35 range. It's about a 30% increase from here. So that's something we got to watch closely, see if that opportunity presents itself. So Rocket Lab is in the space tech industry. It's on our watch list here in space tech. There's a few companies they work with, a lot of companies they work with, from satellites to doing launches for other companies that want to get their satellites up into space. And their market is very big. If you look at a company that they could be compared to, it would be SpaceX. They launch for other companies. They have their own manufacturing. They're an end-to-end company, everything from the solar cells on the solar panels down to even the semiconductors and all their hardware they create on their own. So they're an end-to-end company. Their market cap, so from the market standpoint, they're in a growing market and they're one of the leaders. When you look at RKLB from a financial standpoint, they're at $11 billion market cap, and they're compared to companies like AST, which is, it's so interesting because my friend that works at Rocket Lab that I've known for a really long time, since I was young, really back in like second grade, like very small. We've always been friends. We even lived together a few years in our early 20s. And AST Space Mobile is another company that he was closely working with, and that he helped me discover Rocket Lab and AST really at $3 a share, AST at $2 a share, and the reality is that their financials have looked a lot better from a revenue standpoint. You do see increasing revenue quarter over quarter and year over year as well, and they're up about 32% in their revenue. The net income dipped a little bit, which could be expected if they're going to be investing more in their infrastructure or in their employees, and that's not too bad. For most space companies to see negative net income there, it's not alarming. In fact, they're beating the revenue goals, they're beating the earnings per share pretty consistently, with a slight miss back in June 2024 on the revenue, but really small miss there by less than 1%. So overall financials have looked fairly good. Would we like to see the net income increase? Yeah, of course. But what they're compared to, if they're $11 billion market cap, same thing true is with SpaceX, right? They put millions and millions and millions into their launches, and they also have some other things like Starlink, but they have a $384 billion market cap, which is about, 34 times bigger than Rocket Lab. So they're much bigger, but Rocket Lab is publicly traded and they're end to end. So if you take a look at their company, and we kind of transition from the financials to some of their news and what they look like here. We know that they build their rockets using things like carbon fiber and carbon composite, which gives them an advantage because while it's maybe not cheaper than steel, it's much lighter than steel. So they save money on things like the payload, or the amount of money that they spend on the fuel, and so that means that they're while it might be expensive for the carbon compared to steel, they're actually going to be more efficient in a lot of ways. So from their perspective from an investor perspective, to note that they launch a tremendous amount of rockets for other companies, that's where their money is being made. So the $120 million in the quarter, part of it is their manufacturing. The biggest piece is the satellites that they launch with their rocket. So they launch satellites that give other companies that are maybe competing with SpaceX. I don't know if they might even launch for SpaceX. I'm not totally sure. I don't believe so. But when it comes to their NASA contracts, they have some very, very big contracts. They got Mars sample return. One of the things that happened was NASA was saying, we are going to go to Mars and it's going to cost us, they said 15 billion or something. And then Rocket Lab came into NASA and they said, look, we could do it for like 3 to 5 billion max, probably more like 2 to 3 billion. And NASA said, all right, let's make it happen. So they secured a huge contract with NASA for their Mars missions. There's also the contracts related to the moon mission. You can see their upcoming missions, and they're doing it. They're really doing it right now. You got NASA Aspra, you got Black Sky, multiple dedicated Electron missions for Black Sky Space. So we've talked a little bit about that company. But if you wanted to, like, let's say you're looking at Black Sky, or you're looking at the different companies like Redwire, you're looking at these companies that are putting satellites into space and they have like technology. It's kind of like when you're looking at Tesla and you're saying, okay, Tesla's getting bigger and bigger in 2020. What tech is powering them? What's powering Apple? And it was NVIDIA. NVIDIA became one of the biggest companies. They're the biggest company in the world because they were the tech behind so many of these magnificent 7 tech companies. And so that's why they became number one. And so when it comes to Rocket Lab, if you look at some of like the other companies that are using the Rocket Lab launch missions to get up into space, and a lot of them are public companies, they rely on Rocket Lab and they pay Rocket Lab handsomely to get those satellites up into space. So that's something that I would say kind of it positions them in it's a different industry, right? Because it's space, and it's maybe not AI, but it does position them in a unique position to be one of the top kind of launch pads for any future space company. So that's what I like about their systems. They got solar solutions, space software, they got spacecrafts, and everything else. So when it comes down to their news, it's been fairly good. They've gotten a lot of contracts secured. You can see some of their missions. They got DoD contracts and UK defense, not just US, but a multi-billion-dollar US and UK defense contracts to expand hypersonic technology. And on top of that, we're seeing them work with US Space Force. It's a $5.6 billion national security space launch. So they're right there in the forefront of where space tech is going, and that's why we have them on our list. And I started investing in Rocket Lab back around $3 a share. We started covering it on the channel. I guess it was in November. That's actually when we kind of started this channel. But I started investing in this company really back in 2022. It was right around here in September. That's where I actually discovered it. It was right here, as well as ASTS, which at the time was around $4. Rocket Lab at that time was about $3.50. So, since then we start to see it. It's at it's at $25 at one point, up to $33. So with these financials, or with these charts that we see holding above the EMA and above the 200-day moving average, so indicating more bullish momentum, the hyperbole case would be up to these previous highs, so 30 to 40% swing. The conservative approach would be we slowly get there, we see it sell down to this $22 price range, and it takes some time. But I do think long term we're going to see those prices again. Just a matter of the patient game. I really do believe that's going to be a consistent growth factor for them, is all those contracts. So we could see that play a role. Now, when it comes to the near term, if it does validate this $23 price point, or really does hold that level and continue up, most likely we'll be looking to trade them in our market sessions in the morning. Because usually a lot of the dips, we could see here, Rocket Lab right here, market open, 6:30 a.m. was right here. It dipped big and then recovered big. In some of the biggest dips that we have, when was this dip right here? 6 a.m. It dipped big down to $20 and it recovered big, right? And so a lot of the times we trade right at market open for those reasons, because whether it's manipulation, accumulation, or distribution, whatever it is that we're seeing institutions try to manipulate or move the market, or not even manipulate sometimes, but just how they schedule their orders, we could play some of those price swings in a way that's, as long as we have a plan and we're able to find those overselling moments where we get it down to a level at which it's likely to bounce, then we enter with a plan. That's how we've been making our money in the market at market open for the shorter term trading. So if you ever want to join us there in Stockmates, you get a free t-shirt as well that we have out for Stockmate apparel, as well as our weekly targets, along with the community of like-minded individuals, and our daily live sessions on this week. It's going to be Tuesday through Friday. Normally it's Monday through Friday. If the market's open, we are there at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you guys ever want to join us, it's the second link down below for the daily live trading. And if you ever want to join something that would include more of a software approach, we also have, for example, like here's the space industry outlook. Take a look at all these companies here. This is a software that's in beta. We can upload. We could click into Rocket Lab and get some projections. Where is Rocket Lab? There it is. Rocket Lab. It's going to let us click it. There you go. It's at $25.42. According to our AI, it's showing signs of growth. So I actually have this software that we've built. This is fully built by me at this moment. And our team I recently hired a team member, Drew, who's working with us. He just recently graduated from college, and he's a tremendous developer. And he's allowed me he's helping to get some of the new, this is so exciting. This is cool. The AI model that we have a very specific real-time reach with these AI models, and we use prompts to individually analyze for each future time frame. So what you're looking at here is a future time frame, and according to this, according to our AI, it's projecting that in the next 3 or so months we could see Rocket Lab reach previous highs again. Now, again, it's still in testing phases. Some of the back testing that we've ran has been very good, but it's still in beta. But if you want to get the chance to use this firsthand, I just put together a investor morning coffee conversation this morning, and it's the first link in the description. We had it on Saturday morning. If you want to watch the replay, it's the full breakdown of the virtual stock trading system, where you get access to this, you get Mercatus for free, and you also get a one-on-one call with myself, and you get, did I say Stockmate free? Yeah, you Stockmate for free, you get the free t-shirt, and on top of that, you get the tickets to our in-person event if you so choose you'd like to be there. But the main product, the virtual stock trading system, this is actually a bonus, and what you get is 1 hour a week in our weekly calls in Zoom. And we have a memorial sale. It's a huge sale And we already had our first live session this past week, so you get instant access to the first session. But what you should realize is that we have a memorial sale. It's going away, and it's a huge sale, so it's not getting better than this. If you want to be there, it's the first link in the description down below. So thank you guys so much for watching. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Let me know your thoughts on Rocket Lab while we're analyzing here on Robinhood. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.